All right, so for this one, we're going to talk a little bit about operations management. And we're going to start off here with the conversion process. So we're taking, in most cases, we're taking some raw material items and we're going to change them and turn them into a finished product. So there's two different ways that can be done. It's called analytical versus synthetic. Analytical is like what we do with crude oil. We take crude oil from the ground and we actually break it up, and you get paraffin wax, and you get gasoline, and you get diesel, and you get some different products out of that. So you broke something up. That's an analytical. Synthetic is when we take different parts and we combine them into a finished product. All right, and what we're looking at is, if you remember in the definition of business, is we're trying to create things that satisfy society's needs or wants. And the ability of something to do that, it means that it has utility. So utility is the ability of a good or service to satisfy a human need. But there's actually some different types of utility. So we're looking to create 4 different types of utility in this conversion process. The first one's called form utility. So we're trying to get it into the form that someone wants it in. So let's say we fly to Minnesota and it's freezing cold, and we were wearing flip-flops because it was warm here in Texas. And when we get there, we realize that we need some shoes or our feet are going to freeze. And so we go to the store that's right there close. We go to the Duluth Trading Company in Duluth, Minnesota, and we need a pair of shoes in our size, right? So in order for something to have utility for us, not only do we got to be able to find a pair of shoes, we have to find a pair of shoes that are in the right size. So it has to be in the right form for us. And so we've taken whatever these inputs are, we've converted them through production, through a production process, and we've created an output. Okay. When we do that, there's going to be a focus, okay, or a major resource used. So focus just means which resource was used more than the others. All right, so it gives you some examples. For a bank, financial resources are the major resource, and for Chevron, it's probably the material resource. Okay, and so and for an IT department, it's probably the informational resource, or for IBM, it would be an informational resource. So one of the resources that every business has, financial, material, informational, and human, is going to be the focus of the conversion process. Magnitude of change just says how much has the resource physically changed from what it started as. Okay, so they give the example here of Glad cling wrap. And it starts out as a liquid or a powder, and then it ends up as this long, thin sheet. Okay, so it's unrecognizable from what it was. All right, so it's changed a lot. The number of production processes, that's just the number of steps it takes to get from where we started with the raw materials to the finished product. Okay, how many steps are there in that process? So there are some other types of utility, and going back to utility, so we're talking about the conversion process and getting it to that final utility that we needed in the form, but there's also place, time, and possession. So we're in Duluth, Minnesota, and we need a pair of shoes, and we need it to be in the form that we need, but we also need to be there in Duluth. It wouldn't help us if we went in and they said, "Oh yeah, we've got a pair, but they're in California." Well, we needed them in Duluth, Minnesota, so it has to have place. We need it to be in the right form, and we need it to be right place at the right time. We have it in California. We can get it here by Wednesday. Well, we need it now. All right, so our time utility said that we need it right now. And then possession is that we have to be willing to take possession of it at the price that they're asking. So it has to have a price that we're willing to take possession of it, right? And so it has to have all four of those utilities. If it has all four of those utilities, we'll make the purchasing decision. If it doesn't, we won't buy it. So one thing you can know about any item that you own is that it met your utilities. It met all four of those utilities, because if it hadn't, you wouldn't have taken possession of it. You wouldn't own it. And so that's the conversion process. Another thing that we're going to talk about real quickly is a little bit of research and development. There's kind of two. They're listing three types of research and development. The third one, I guess I would say, is really just an extension of the second or the first two. So there's basic research that just says that we're just trying to uncover some new knowledge, like in general. So this is basically what's done at the university level. So we dive down into the ocean because so much is unknown about the ocean. We just want to learn more about the ocean. All right. The second one would be applied research, would say, oh, well, we're diving down into the ocean to get a very specific thing because we think that this thing might be useful in curing cancer. Okay. And the third one would say, okay, now we're taking this research, we're developing, we're implementing, we're gonna try to apply it and use it to actually produce a new good or service to be used. Okay, and so that's research and development for you. All right, that's it for this little lecture, and we'll see you in a little bit.